Welcome to Tran Wins GreedFall. This will be a modded adventure.
Could you stand a little taller, just a tad?
Like this?
Yes, yes. The chin a tiny bit lower. Gaze a little more to the right. There! Now, hold the pose.
What, you want to see this birthmark? We're going to be playing on extreme, but because I am modding it to my liking, it's going to be a little bit easier than one might normally encounter during a vanilla playthrough.
Just a few more minutes. You have such an incredibly singular face.
Hey!
That's a compliment, my lady, out of my mouth. Your particularity gives you character.
You're still here?
We have nearly finished. Have you any more need of me, Master?
You haven't forgotten that we're setting sail today, have you?
Of course not.
Your cousin is nowhere to be found. I've searched the palace from cellars to attics. Your uncle is beside himself.
He was of a mind to paint the town last night. Don't worry. I shall track him down. Make care to your own preparations without wrinkling another frown. We'll meet you on the boat.
It's about time your cousin took account of the responsibilities awaiting him. He should go and inform the ambassadors of Teleme and the Bridge Alliance of his departure.
Have no fear, Master. I will go and see them in his name. I beg your pardon, but urgent matters call me away. Might we finish all this later?
Impossible, my lady. You are leaving with the tide, if what I've been told is correct.
I am sorry, sir, truly. I must be going.
My lady, please, I beg you. Her Highness has personally requested I finish this.
Thank you, cousin, for getting me out of that.
One of the mods is to remove the lantern. I do have some starter DLC items, and we're going to go ahead and equip that. I'm not going to equip the rifle, though, because that gets in the way of some of the cutscenes, so I'll put it on later.
Hey! Green blood!
Kurt!
And so the day has finally come. My royal fledglings are leaving the nest.
Accompanied by their most loyal and tenacious Master of Arms.
As loyal as your gold.
Enough with the cold mercenary. I know you like us. Still hiding your men in the unsuspecting shadows of the greats of this world, I see.
Hey, our blades are the only thing keeping you dainties alive.
Kurt! I'm not in need of your protection! I'm no longer a child, you know.
Is that so? Well, let's see. Fight with honor!
Is this fighting with honor? So he cheats here and drinks a swiftness potion. At least I think that's what that icon means. Bring it. A well-timed parry will allow you to do an immediate counterattack. Owned!
You defend yourself well, Greenblood. One might think you had a proper Master of Arms.
The best.
You already training for your new post of Legate? Don't tire yourself. Flattery'll get you nowhere. But for the fight, you have remembered your basics. Your performance just got you out of a final lesson. Unless you want to go through the paces again before we depart.
No. Thanks all the same. I have quite a few tasks to check off my list before we depart.
And here you are already assuming your political functions. And in a hurry. Always too busy. Very well. If you ever want to go over your basics later, visit one of our barracks on the Isle. You'll always find a training partner to give you a friendly fight.
I'll remember that. Thanks. Are your bags packed for the great departure?
Yes, you know I get by with very little. You're not angry that I'm coming with you, I hope.
On the contrary, I am thrilled that both you and Sir de Corsillon are joining our party. A few friends at your side in unknown territory is a boon.
Don't tell me the old school teacher is competing against me. By the way, where is our future governor hiding? I was hoping to put his skills to the test as well.
I've no idea. He had plans to celebrate his departure last night, and we haven't seen him since. You know Constantine. I should have gone with him, but my heart wasn't in the mood for a celebration. The thought of bidding my mother farewell.
It is never easy to say goodbye. But you should be going to see her now. She must be waiting for you. I'll meet you in front of the palace. Then we'll go and find Constantine together.
Very well. I'll meet you as soon as I've said my goodbyes.
What is this? Have you not been taught to knock? I've asked 1,000 times. Oh, it's you, my dear child.
Mother, I'm sorry. I'm having trouble getting used to your condition.
Come now, let's speak of more pleasant things. I'm so very happy to hear your voice. You remind me so much of your father. I do miss him so. Today is the big day, isn't it? Ready to set sail for that island everyone's talking about.
Yes, but the idea of leaving you behind, alone and ill.
Dying, my child. Alas, there is nothing you can do by staying that would ease my suffering. One thing brings me cheer. They say the island is full of miracles, and we might find a cure.
Even if I were to find it, I would never be able to return in time to...
I know. But it brings me comfort to know my daughter has left on a mission to heal her people. Come now. It is time for you to take leave. Here, take this with you.
What is it?
A family heirloom. Something that... Take it and keep it with you. May it bring you good luck. All my blessings go with you, my child. Now, be off.
I really like how it shows the coin being picked up by her. Like, it's a small detail, but that looks really nice. The way that that item is passed over. In a lot of games, it just shows a person reaching over, and then that's it. One of the mods I've installed helps with the brown filter that is part of the game. While the game will still look very brown, it has a lot more color than it normally does.
Cut. It's done.
Sorry, Greenblood. Look, we can see the masts of the ship that'll be taking us. This is one sacred adventure we're embarking on.
I hope this island will keep its promises.
In order to know that, we'll need to find Constantine first.
You were right. Maybe he is already at the port. He was so eager to leave.
This will be quite the chore to finish before our departure. The commander wants to recover some merchandise from our supplier, but the transporter doesn't want to deliver. I did all I could to persuade. Nothing came of it. All the parliamenting fatigues me. But this is your domain. I wouldn't say no to a little help.
Of course. Where is the supplier located?
In the lower boroughs, near the port.
Right then. We'll put it on our list of visits.
Where would you like to begin?
I've been asked to pay visits to the ambassadors of Thélème and the Bridge Alliance before our departure. Their dwellings are not far from here. We could go there first.
Very well. Do you think Constantine will be waiting for us next to the ship?
I don't know, but it is certainly worthy of inspection.
We're gonna go straight to rescue your cousin, Constantine. He is the governor of New Serene, which is a city in the New World. One of the negative aspects of the game is that you'll often backtrack into areas that you can't do anything until you've unlocked the quest for it. You'll note that here there's no guard or anything going on. We'll be back later.
If you had any idea who I am. Open up, imbeciles! I have a ship to catch!
Do you hear that?
Yes, that's Constantine's voice. It's coming from the upper floor. Sounds as if he's locked up.
And I have a feeling they're expecting company. Be careful. The slightest itchy word to these brutes will have them drawing blades to scratch it.
Negotiation may be the solution. As you say, this breed of brutes won't spit on ransom money.
What a waste. I'd rather sneak around them than give half a coin to these seedy fellows.
That door can be unlocked from the other side.
It's blocked.
And this wall here can be destroyed if you have Science level 1, which I do not have. I went with a point in lockpicking instead.
Shouting like that, we should have gotten rid of him.
Don't be an idiot. It's obvious that he's a noble, a rich man. He needed to be taught a lesson, but it's better we grab some coin. With all those posters we posted, someone with deep pockets will show up sooner or later to liberate the rooster.
And we're good.
Deal of noise, we could knock him out, or gag him.
Well, this has been monumentous, gentlemen, but I have more important things to attend to. An island to govern, treaties to sign, riches to expedite, and a demanding father to impress!
Constantine, it's me!
My fair cousin! Oh, my lucky star, always there to pull me out of my fires.
I do what I can. We are departing soon. Your father wasn't pleased by your absence this morning.
Have you ever seen him happy about anything when it comes to me? You know what he thinks of me.
He cares about you. I know that. He appointed you governor, didn't he?
He is ridding himself of a source of constant disappointment. Enough said. Today we set sail for adventure. If you only knew how these river scum treated me. Do me a courtesy, fair cousin. Now that we stand boldly alongside the brave Kurt, let's give them their money's worth.
They haven't spotted us. We could sneak out of here silently. We have a ship to board.
You've always been a reasonable soul. Don't you think these brutes deserve a punishment?
Yes, without a doubt. But don't you think there are more pressing matters? cut.
It is your highness's decision to make. Whatever it is, I shall follow.
But we're gonna slaughter them for the XP and the items. That is my decision. Since we collected Constantine immediately, before doing anything else, we're gonna see some dialogue options you might not normally get exposed to. Whenever you're sneaking, if you go up to a person and activate the action button, you will stab them for severe damage, which will kill many opponents, but it's not an insta-kill attack. It just does significant damage.
Death to the others!
Now, what you can do is you can actually save before searching any of the bodies. If you don't search the body, items have not been made permanent yet. It's still random. You can still walk up to it, save, and then loot it until you find an item that you like. I'm not actually going to do that, but that is an option that you could consider if you want some more gear or money. But one of the mods I've installed, even though it's one of the mods I've installed is the party limit removal mod. I really dislike the idea of party limits. It just seems so incredibly silly. Although I am playing on extreme difficulty, I am sure that that will make my battles a lot easier. Not too worried about it.
Your Excellency.
Legate De Sardet. I have been told that you were named Legate. Congratulations. Those are great responsibilities for someone as young as yourself. But you will bring honor upon your family and the congregation. Of that I'm certain.
I thank you, Excellency. I've come here to inform you of our departure for Tir Fredi. My cousin Constantine is taking office as governor of New Serene, and I'm accompanying him.
I had no idea you would be leaving so quickly. What a shame. I had thought... Well, then, that is a pity. Have a pleasant voyage. A brilliant future awaits you. They say that it is a marvelous island.
You seem slightly hesitant. Please, tell me what troubles you.
A rather unscrupulous individual has been sowing trouble in Serene. A charlatan passing himself off as an alchemist.
Do people actually give credence to these lies?
Alas, yes. They snatch up his celebrated panacea. Remedies worse than the ill, believe me. As you can well imagine, alchemists are our pride. This vulgar trickster casts dirt upon their reputation and our own at the same time. In any city of the Bridge Alliance, we would have arrested him. But here, we respect your laws.
I shall see what I can do, but make no promises. My departure is imminent.
I thank you, Excellency. And I am pleased to see you have taken so well to your new functions of diplomacy. The man operates in the city center. He is said to be clever and mean. Be careful.
Would you be so kind as to tell me what you know about the Bridge Alliance?
With pleasure. A legate needs to know the history and strengths of her allies. The alliance was sealed by several nations of the Bridge around 200 years ago. The greatest of our cities, Al-Sad, became the capital, and a council formed from the different nations now rules. This union was originally put into place to better resist the appetites for conquering our neighbors. But our ancestors quickly realized that the union had also strengthened us economically and culturally. And of course, exchanges in knowledge were strongly encouraged from the outset. Today, it is by no means an overstatement to claim that the Bridge Alliance leads our world in science and exploration. Each day, we push the limits of our understanding further in each and every domain.
Could you give me your understanding of the relations between the congregation and the bridge?
Our relations hang essentially on the quality of our trade and commerce. The exchanges are very profitable, especially on the cultural front. I will not hide from you that we have hoped you would join our number for quite some time. But your princes insist on maintaining a neutral stance between the congregation and the other nations on the continent. It is by all means a respectable position, even if it means you also trade with our enemies.
The Bridge Alliance has been on Tirfredi for much longer than we have. What can you tell me?
It is true that we founded Hikmet, our newest city, around 15 years ago now. Alas, I haven't been able to go there myself. I can only tell you what others have reported to me. It is a luxurious island. An enormous dead volcano thrones in its center. The vegetation is extremely varied, and the fauna wondrous. We discovered animals that we had never ever seen before. Some are bigger than houses. But they're not the only occupants of the island. A savage and crude people also live there, who speak an incomprehensible language. But you shall discover all of this for yourself soon enough.
And what of your war with Thélème?
It has been dragging on. In fact, it has been dragging on for years. It is madness. If those bigots hadn't gotten it in their heads to convert the entire continent, we wouldn't be in this situation. But that's the way of the world. We shall not waver, whether here or on Tirfredi.
Have you been fighting battles there as well?
From what I've been told, Thélème has wisely and tastefully built their colony far from our city. Direct conflicts are in fact quite rare. But one day they will inevitably take place.
I need to be going. Goodbye, Excellency.
Goodbye, Lady De Sardet.
I'll be using the mouse for the dialogue options so that you can see which ones I'm picking, and if you use the keyboard, a message appears on top of the scenes while you're talking.
Good day, Excellency.
Lady De Sardet, to what do I owe the pleasure?
I have come to inform you that my cousin Constantine and I are departing for Tirfredi on the hour.
Ah, yes. I did indeed hear talk that you had both received callings of greater stature. Allow me to congratulate you. Were you not named Legate of the Congregation?
You are correct, Excellency. I thank you.
It is a station of great honor that I am sure you will fill with brio and panache. The Mother Cardinal Cornelia will be enchanted to work with you, and your cousin in the future. I only regret that your departure is so sudden.
Really?
To be entirely honest with you, I was hoping to solicit your help in a rather delicate matter.
Tell me more about it, and perhaps I can take care of your problem before my departure.
Very well. A small group of dangerous heretics has found refuge in Serene. We know that your uncle tolerates the presence of all pagans within the city walls. But these particular non-believers threaten the fragile harmony of this place. We would consider it a tremendous favor if you would arrest them and deliver them to our guard.
Heresy is not a crime in Serene. You do know that, but I'm sure that my uncle would hear your arguments. Why call on my intervention?
The prince would indeed give us his blessing, but it would take time. Far too much time. For according to our sources, these fugitives have already made contact with a smuggler to take them who knows where.
I see. You were hoping that I'll be able to do something before they make it to an enemy city. If your heretics are planning on boarding a ship, then they must be in the dockyards. I'll look into this and see what I can do. Could you tell me anything about Thélème?
It would be a pleasure. As you already know, our glorious nation is guided by our faith. We follow the teachings of Matthias, our founder and greatest prophet, and give thanks each day to the Luminous for having gifted us magic. The high dignitaries of Thélème are at the same time our spiritual guides, advocates, and grand mages.
I've heard say that dissensions have appeared recently in your nation.
Ah, you must certainly be speaking about the debates that have divided the Ordo Luminous and the more political orders. The Lord Luminous has an extremely pure vision of our faith and applies the words of our saint very strictly.
You mean stupidly?
But other, more open-minded factions exist within our nation. They believe that a less rigid dialectic would attract souls more readily to our faith. But their differences are purely theoretical, and do not threaten the cohesion of our nation, I assure you.
Yeah, you remember that when I turn in my quest.
What is your point of view on the relations between our two nations?
As ambassador of Thélème, I can only rejoice at the mention of our commercial treaties. We appreciate as well the welcome that your uncle gave to our missionaries. Thanks to your support, more and more believers wander your lands. The congregation is our most precious ally. To be perfectly honest, we have only two complaints: that heresy is tolerated, and that your treaties with the Bridge Alliance are maintained.
How is Thélème faring on Tirfredi?
We built a marvelous city, San Matthias, on the western coast of the island. Did you know that certain historians believe that it might well have been the final resting place of our prophet? Our missionaries there are a multitude. Not a day passes without new islanders joining our sacred faith. Of course, there are certain pockets of resistance. There is talk of a demonic cult, disgusting creatures. But I am confident that the Ordo Luminous will be able to put an end to these horrors. And we have tremendous hopes that the entire native population will join our ranks.
How goes the conflict with the Bridge Alliance?
Your territory is, alas, the only one that has been spared from the ravages of war on the continent. We fight on every front, without great success, one must say. But what other choice do we have? These so-called savants not only refuse the light, but are determined in their fight against it.
And on Tirfredi?
To my knowledge, no one has yet seen any serious fighting. The Bridge have succeeded in provoking the natives there, and have their hands full keeping them at bay. Which leaves us greater latitude to settle peacefully and pursue our mission of conversion.
I must be going. Farewell, Excellency.
May the light guide you, De Sardet.
Now, there's a ton of quests in the game, and what I'll probably do is take the least efficient route, only so that there is some sort of consistency. So, for example, I'm going to ignore the merchant, although it'd be faster to talk to him. I'm going to ignore the merchant and do all of the merchant objectives at the same time. Yeah, let me through, guys.
Your Highness, I'm happy to see you. Your absence this morning worried both your father and me.
Come now, Sir de Corsillon. My father may have been angry, outraged, or disappointed, but he's never worried about me. I am sad to have caused you any worry, though. Would you believe that I was rotting away in a sinister jail, guarded by thugs ready to kill me. Though still seeing double from last night's drink, I was preparing an ingenious escape plan when, ta-da! My fair cousin jumped up out of nowhere and saved me. I'm quite the fairy tale damsel in distress.
You might have refrained from the company of bandits the night before such an important departure.
Take away the risk and halve the pleasure, de Corsillon. It is the salt of life.
I fear that some of my teachings have been misunderstood. But you wanted to ask me something, De Sardet?
What will be your official title on Tirfredi? Or are you just here to keep an eye on us?
Come now, don't be ridiculous. I'm coming in the capacity of official advisor, nothing more. But His Highness has also asked me to report to him on certain strategic observations. I am therefore required to take note of all events, chart the island and its resources, but also obtain as much knowledge as possible concerning the more dangerous creatures of the island. Your help will be extremely valuable to me. I've no longer the legs of an adventurer.
It's always a privilege to help, Master. I need to be leaving. I have quite a few things to do before we raise anchor.
Yeah, you should ignore his quests. They only give you 250 gold after completing them.
Lively there, lads and lasses! I promised the merchants and their prince we'd be off before the tide. You, man, carry that properly. That porcelain is worth more than your life. There are some children we'd be best to refuse.
Captain Vasco!
And you are?
I'm De Sardet, the prince's niece. All is in order. We will soon be embarking on your boat.
It's a ship, not a boat.
Thanks for walking through us, people.
Apologies.
Constantine d'Orsay, future governor of Tirfredi. I'm enchanted, Captain. I am eager to board your ship.
Enchanted as well, Your Highness. I hope you enjoy your voyage.
Are you ready? Can we weigh anchor?
We should be able to set sail with the tide, as agreed upon. We're short a crew member. The cabin boy is missing. But have no fear, we will leave without him if he does not present himself before the tide.
Is he an important member of the crew?
We don't need him for sailing or navigation. He's only a cabin boy.
He must have simply had a bit too much to drink in celebrating his departure. Like another I know.
I doubt that. Jonas was never one to fancy drink. And it's been 2 days since last he was seen. No, I fear something bad has happened to him. Might I ask you, if you hear anything, could you report it to me? I would like to set sail with a clear mind.
When did you see your cabin boy for the last time?
It's been 2 days since I've had any news at all. It wasn't out of the ordinary until this morning. My men have free shore leave when we're at dock. But the day of departure, every able-bodied sailor must be present on the ship.
Does the boy know anyone in Serene?
Other than fellow Norts, you mean? I don't think so, but it's difficult to be sure.
Miss Jonas, does he have any close friends amongst the crew?
In tradition, we are all members of the same family. But yes, there would be Flavia and Lauro.
Might I have a word with them?
As you wish. You'll find them over there, in port.
Could you tell me a little about your guild?
We are masters of the oceans. Our ships can sail where no others dare.
Thanks to your magic, so I've heard. How do you become a Nort?
Our magic, yes, that only the Norts master. As for your question, any child born on one of our ships is sea-born. He is a Nort from birth. Others are sea-gifted, joining the Norts for different reasons, often from a young age. It's how the guild is made and maintains its numbers.
Could you tell me anything about our destination? The island of Tirfredi?
It is a magnificent place. Wild. Spared from your wars and your mines, for now. The natives have a relationship with their land and consider it sacred. They're a very friendly people, welcoming. That will appear to you strangely familiar. I've also heard that there are a great many exotic creatures, some enormous. But I wouldn't know what else to tell you. I've never strayed far from the ports.
And we're gonna kill all of them.
What do you think of our port?
Are you referring to this one? It is the biggest high seas port on the continent. Thanks to your prince, even though it remains part of your city, it holds a particular status for us Nords. Certain zones are owned completely by us, and maritime law holds office. It's a good port. Were it not for the Malachor, it would be a pleasant place to dock.
Be back soon, Captain. Good day. Someone told me that you were a friend of Jonas, the young cabin boy who was gone missing.
That's right, yeah. Are you looking for him?
Yes. Your captain asked me to go and find him.
Happy to hear he's taken the disappearance seriously. What can I do for you?
What do you think about Captain Vasco?
He's a damn good navigator, and an excellent leader of men. He knows his craft well, in spite of being so young.
How old is he?
He's not seen his 25th year yet. If he keeps it up, he'll be an admiral one day.
When did you last see him?
2 days ago, in the evening. We went to have a drink in the tavern. Jonas, Lauro, and myself.
Did anything seem out of the ordinary? Was he troubled?
Maybe a tad troubled. Like he was somewhere else.
Why would that be? Give me your best guess.
Why? I haven't the faintest idea.
What does Jonas do in his free time, when you're on land?
He just hangs around here or there. You know the cabin boys don't have half a sailor's wages. And when evening comes, we usually go down the tavern with good old Lauro.
Did he ever have one too many?
Never. He sips his pint like it was bad medicine. One drink lasts him the whole night.
Does he know anyone in Serene?
No one, far as I know.
Do you think he could have made himself any enemies?
I wouldn't think that for a moment. Jonas has a good heart and he steers clear of trouble and troublemakers.
I don't know where to start with this. Do you have any idea?
No. Lauro won't stop telling anyone who will lend him an ear that the boy was carried off by thugs.
And you don't believe him?
I like Lauro, don't get me wrong, he's like a brother. But to be honest, he drinks a little more than he should. The itch for a drink gets us all, but to him more than others, and when you drink too much, the imagination wanders. Here, yesterday, it was me who tied one over, and I thought I heard Jonas's voice by the canal. I called back to him, as you guessed, but then nothing. Drink. It blurs the senses.
I need to be going. Farewell. Good day, sailor. I've been told that you know the missing cabin boy well. Is that right?
You talking about Jonas? You bet your stars I know him. But like I've been crying to the 9 deaf winds, he didn't go missing, he was taken.
Were you a witness to the event?
Yes, I was. Even though I'd had a few tumblers in the belly, I hadn't yet lost my head. The other day, in the tavern, I saw him talking to a well-dressed man, surrounded by some other sly ruffians. And then when we left, him and I, Flavia left a little earlier, you understand. Well, those brutes were there, waiting for him. They just up and took him like that. Grabbed his arms and poof, gone. Vanished.
Why didn't you intervene?
I tried to, believe me. But my legs betrayed me. Wavering they were. And I fell into the gutter.
Did you report this to the captain?
Unfortunately not. I know all too well what weight my words carry. Even Flavia treated me like a drunken fool. And the captain? No, not telling him that. I still have some pride left, you get me?
Did Jonas seem troubled to you, the night he disappeared?
Maybe. For sure he wasn't his usual self.
Do you know what was on his mind?
No. No idea.
Why would anyone want to snatch a mere cabin boy?
How would I know? Jonas is a gentle boy who keeps his head down. You think my story is nothing but mist too, don't you?
It's just that I can't imagine a gang of thugs hoping to get a ransom for a cabin boy. Did anyone else see the kidnapping?
There was still a small crowd in the tavern. But outside, I seem to recall that regular being there. We play cards with him from time to time. Kind of fellow who plays from morning to night time to be that skilled. But now and again he comes out. When nature calls, you know. I kind of remember his face being there.
What do you think about Captain Vasco?
He's a just man who knows his knots. He's well appreciated by the crew. It's a pity that he hasn't much heart for laughs now and again. Always seems unhappy, our captain.
Thank you, Lauro. I need to be going.
Strange story, this is.
Something isn't right here. I can feel it. We need to lift the veil on this. Good day, Tavern Keeper.
Can I pour you anything? It's you. I didn't recognize you, my scruffy young pup. You put this place to shambles last night.
I am quite sorry about that. I'm afraid I let the festive spirit get the better of me.
Better of ya? You broke everything. If you think for a second that I'm...
Come on now. Don't be angry about such trivialities. I'm certain we can make amends. Now, what can I do? The contents of this pouch should be worth your forgiveness. What do you say?
Forgiven and even forgotten, your lordship. Whatever can I do for you?
How is business going these days?
It's picking up. We've not seen many new customers, but of late things are looking better. The Malicor and the neighbouring wars have dampened commerce. The epidemic still rages, but the possibility of finding a cure on that island has given people something to hope for. Now that we have a city there, quite a few seafarers come by to spend their wages.
Has the Malicor really put a damper on your business?
More than a damper. They were soaked. When the sickness began to spread, a wave of panic followed in its wake. People stopped going out of their homes. They were afraid. I was close to closing shop, I tell you. And then, thankfully, the alchemists of the bridge said that you couldn't just catch it like that. People are still distrustful, as is their nature, but they are leaving home again. It's a start. I also lost quite a few regular customers. Dead or too scared to venture back. Yeah, but that's nothing new to you. The city would have sunk in the water if not for trade with the new isle.
With all these sailors coming and going, you must have heard some stories about Tir Fredi.
Right. Even stories that my heaviest drinkers would have trouble believing. They say that man-trees live there. Dragons and gigantic creatures. Treasure abounds under every rock. And the source of eternal life is hidden somewhere there. Last night, some Nauts even told me they brought back one of those giant beasts into the port. Ah, but you know the kind. If you ask my opinion, the drink was fueling their imaginations.
I am looking for a Naut. A young cabin boy who has been missing roll call for 2 days now.
A Naut, you say? That's not a lot to go on. There are quite a few that come to my tavern.
According to one of his fellows, he would have been taken right here.
A kidnapping? In my establishment? You surely jest. Or at least I hope you do. I would have noticed. That doesn't hold water.
Someone told me about one of your faithful clients. A big gambler, it would seem.
I see. An able-bodied man. Passes his time lightening the pouches of sailors coming through.
Where might I find him at this time?
Here? He would never give away his chair at his table. Anything else?
I need to be off. Farewell.
Goodbye.
Who are you? I don't recognize you. Am I in your debt?
No, have no fear about that. It's for a different reason that I'm here. I'm looking for a Naut that disappeared 2 days ago, after visiting this establishment. A young cabin boy. 2 members of his crew accompanied him.
Yes, that does ring a bell. I've played with the 3 of them.
What can you tell me about the boy? How was he that night?
He seemed rather nervous, as if he was worried about something. Didn't feel like playing, that I remember. And he must have been right to be nervous, if he's disappeared.
Tell me what happened that evening.
A rich merchant came in, with a band of strong arms. The kind of men you can round up for a few coins, if you catch my drift. They exchanged words with the cabin boy. The kid was defensive, not sitting pretty. And then they finally left.
And after that?
It just so happens that I did go out for a breather. I needed some fresh air. And I think I might well have seen those same men grab him. But that was none of my business. I wouldn't have thought that they were kidnapping him, if that's what it was. They weren't particularly rough with him.
Who was the rich merchant, do you think? A jilted lover? A moneylender?
No, my lady, you're in luck. It so happens that I know the man. It was Sir Fontaine, that merchant.
Where can I find him?
He has a house in the wealthy boroughs, just off the canal. A stone's throw from the Theleme embassy.
Thank you. You've been immensely helpful.
This man is completely owned by his love for the game. Do you think we can trust him?
What would he gain from lying?
I have no idea. But what would any wealthy merchant gain from holding a penniless child?
Perhaps it's not pennies he's after. Kurt's outfit gives a +1 to lockpicking. Dear Reef, I am genuinely sorry to learn that you have not found the peace you were hoping for in Serene. Since your departure from the Academy, the situation has been deplorable. Those you had accused are now behaving as if the rules did not apply to them, regularly performing questionable experiments, and there is nothing the rest of us can do apart from keeping a low profile. I sincerely hope that you will eventually find some place where you can be at peace. Your friend. That's the Alchemist mission. We'll be back there in a bit. I searched this room, right? Alright, so that's the coin guard barracks I just passed through. And I will want to go back and talk to the guy. However, in the interest of keeping the content of each episode coherent, I'm not going to actually hit everything just based off of proximity.
Might I help you, my lady?
I would like to have a word with Sir Fontaine.
He is absent, but the lady of the house could certainly receive you. Enter, please.
Oh, I know you. I've seen you at court. You are Lady De Sardet. And to what do I owe the honor of your visit, Excellency?
I would like to have a word with your husband.
He is not here, but perhaps I could be of help.
It concerns a delicate matter. We are looking for a missing cabin boy. According to witnesses, he had an argument with your husband before being taken.
I see. I am afraid that you have been misled. You seem to have come to the wrong conclusion. The cabin boy you speak of was not taken. He has simply returned home.
Excuse me, but I'm not sure I understand.
Don't you see, Your Excellency? We got our son back.
I am very surprised. Several witnesses confirmed that your son had a fight with your husband, and that his men escorted him from the tavern using force. If he had joined your husband willingly...
Witnesses? In a tavern? And you choose to believe these drunkards over a respectable family?
These witnesses are all in agreement, and it is their testimonies that have led me to your doorstep.
My son was probably shocked to have found us. My husband and the other men might have simply had to carry him. A gesture that your drunkards must have misunderstood.
What was your son doing on a Nort ship? Why would they have taken him?
It is what they do. Through pacts and contracts, they steal away young children from their mothers.
What are you talking about?
I would have thought that a legate would know these things. But it is true that you are young and inexperienced. It seems that you have been protected from the turpitudes of our own nation and their terrible allies. This horrible, constant ransoming that they put us through. But I will not say another word. You will have no trouble verifying the details now that you know what to look for.
Where might I find your son now?
I cannot say, Excellency. You must understand why. Until the Norts have set sail, we live in fear they will take him back from us.
This pact... It sounds like some fear-inducing story.
The Norts wouldn't be the first to recruit through dubious means.
In this game, there's a lot of pointless running around.
Madam,
Are you ready? Can we weigh anchor?
we should be able to set sail with the tide, as agreed upon. I'm still without news of my cabin boy, but we will have to do without.
I spoke with a woman who told me she was the mother of the cabin boy. She claims that her son was taken from her.
Taken? Her son is sea-gifted. His parents were required to give him up to honor the terms of a contract.
A contract? But what kind of contract are we speaking of?
A commercial contract. In exchange for services rendered by the Norts, some families cede more than gold. In some cases, nations even trade some of their subjects before they're born. I wouldn't be able to tell you the condition of Jonas's contract. I didn't even know he was originally from Serene. But what I can tell you is the young man hasn't seen his parents since he was a small child. And ever since, he's been a Nort. Our ships are his home. We are his only family.
Be back soon, Captain.
You see anyone else who might be able to help us? Anyone who's not a Nort?
Oh, how I would like my father to be implicated in this sordid business. Our old teacher must surely know what's going on here. Let's go talk to him.
Yes? Well, how can your old professor be of service to you?
I've had a word with Lady Fontaine. You must know her. That rich family that lives near the docks. She told me a strange story about her son who was a cabin boy on our ship. She said that he was taken when he was a child, due to some contract with the Nords.
Who was a cabin boy? Do you mean he's no longer one?
They took him back to bring him home.
Well, that is very unpleasant news, De Sardet. We need to do all we can to bring the boy back to his ship. Since time immemorial, there's always been a certain price to pay for the services of the Nords. Children born on their ships belong to them. It's the rule of the sea. But certain contracts are so important that they also require children to be offered in exchange. From time to time, the congregation has passed such accord, and certain noble families had to give their children up.
Are you telling me that the Fontaines lost their son in an agreement signed between my uncle and the Nords?
No. That pact ended a long time ago. This cabin boy couldn't have been a part of that contract. But Sir Fontaine has made a fortune trading with the Alliance, via ships.
Do you mean he would have offered up his own son in exchange for wealth?
Well, he probably did it before the birth of the child, and regretted it afterwards. But that is of little importance. What counts most is that you bring the boy back to the Nords as quickly as possible. Breaking a contract with the seafarers has always cost us dearly. Our nation could feel it in its coffers.
I will do my best.
A father selling his own son for a few boat rides. For ugly, that is ugly.
Lady Fontaine didn't seem to have any knowledge of that detail. That could be of use to us.
Alice, I would like you to prepare several meals and bring them to the warehouses we own on the canal. My husband will have to work there with his clerk and his men for a few days. Make sure that there is enough food for everyone, and be discreet. You do not want other families to know about what is happening.
This document mentions another property. A warehouse.
That would be a great place to hide. Shall we take a peek?
Now, there's two ways in. One is the way I actually did by hopping over this fence, but if you do that, you're likely to have to fight these guys here. What I'm going to do instead is just go through the front and not fight, because I'm a diplomat, and I can save and load.
Here we are. Be careful. Fontaine won't be alone. He'll have his henchmen with him.
A handful of underlings don't scare us away. Right, cousin?
Let's just try to remain discreet.
Hey, thanks, camera.
Lady De Sardet, what are you doing here?
I have come looking for your son. The Nords are worried about his disappearance.
Those Nords took him from us, but now we've got him back, and he'll be staying with us.
Would you be so kind as to hear what I have to say, Sir Fontaine? You've taken your son against his will and have locked him up like merchandise in a warehouse. Is that what you call being a good father?
If I hadn't taken him back, he would have been hauled off on one of the cursed ships.
If that's what he wants, then why would you want to stop him?
For his mother. She misses him so. But in the end, you may be right. My boy has changed. He hasn't spoken a word to me since we've been in this precarious predicament.
Very well. Take the key and
Take him away. Cursed be the day I delivered my son unto the Naughts.
All children leave the nest one day or another, sir. Farewell.
So it's here that our man keeps his son. Abusive fathers.
Pick it instead so I can keep the key.
Who are you?
My name is De Sardet. I'm legate of the congregation. Your captain has sent me to find you.
And were you able to convince my father to allow me to go free?
Yes, even if I had to bend his arm a little.
That doesn't surprise me. He seemed to have no intention of changing his mind. I feel more sorry for my mother. She seems so sweet and happy to see me.
You don't seem to be all that close to your parents.
I hadn't seen them since I was 5 years old. I barely remember them. They find me, capture me, and lock me up in this warehouse. Hard to grow close after all that. My family is the Naughts. I am sorry for my parents, but that is the way of it now. Can I go home?
Yes. You should still go and say farewell to your mother. Then find your way to your ship. I will see you there.
I can also destroy that wall if I can't pick it, or can't get the key. Since we've defused the situation, those guards won't attack us. But normally they would. Go ahead and finish up that one when we go talk to Vasco. I think he'll be alright.